Hi there everyone, we've got a bonus class today, and what you're going to need for your bonus class is your towel rolled up, or indeed your softball. If you have a softball, we will use that in replacement of the towel. Let's start. So we start with the towel underneath the pelvis. Feel it running the length of your pelvis front to back, and your sit bones are kind of wrapping around the outside of the towel. And then we're going to sit back, imagining that you are leaning against a wall. It's supporting you, and close your eyes. We're going to do progressive breathing today. Breathing in for a count of 8, out for a count of 9, in for 10, out for 11, in for 12, and out for 13. Inviting more breath in, more oxygen, more energy, and increasing the space and capacity in the body. Stimulating that rhythm between your diaphragm of breathing and the pelvic diaphragm. Taking a couple now, cleansing breaths in and out. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and let the breath flow in and out. Noticing the increased capacity already from that progressive breathing. Feel the increased movement of the ribs in all directions. And then slowly blinking open the eyes, bringing in the light. And then we're going to move the towel to one side. We'll use that again in a few moments. We're going to sit with the legs outstretched. And if for you sitting in this position is a little uncomfortable or strained in any way, you can sit on your cushion or sit on your towel. It's really important that we're not in a strained start position, okay? Let's start off by circling the feet and the ankles. Allow your legs to go in and out. You can place your hands back for a little bit of support if that's helpful. Otherwise, you can rest them on your thighs. Look at your feet and see what's happening. And you're not looking at your pedicure or lack thereof. You're just looking to see what movement is happening or not happening, so that you can tell your toes to do a little bit more or tell your ankles to do a little bit more, and then go in the other direction. So circling, twisting, spiraling in the other direction here. Let the toes fan and twist and spread and do as much motion as you can find. Last one. And then bring the legs together to flex the feet and stretch the toes forwards. It's not curling down, but stretching forwards. Sometimes we can get a little curled or crossed over with the toes, and this is a chance to find much more space. And if you think back to the anatomy lessons and the concepts, when we looked at them, we talked about the relationship of the feet up to the pelvis and how important that is. So flex the feet and curl the toes and spread. Curl and spread. There we go. Curling and spreading. Look for space between all of those toes. Look and see what fluff is there between your toes. Look and see what toes need a little bit more of a help, and you can give them a little bit of a help. You can even do it where you bring the big toes to each other and press them, which will allow the other toes to ricochet almost away from the big toes. And then let's have a rest there. Great job. That's one to practice for sure. And when you can do out with class time, you could do it just before bed or in the morning when you wake up. Go ahead and pop your towel down ready to lie on it. You're going to have it between the shoulder blades, and we're going to be doing our wave with the thoracic spine. We're going to bring the arms up into a sort of goalpost position like you did in your screening. Feel the towel between your shoulder blades, adjust it as you need to, and remember, if you have a soft ball, you're going to be using the soft ball here. Finding the place of ease. That's always the note at the beginning of any movement is, am I in a starting position of ease? There's nothing to gain from strain. So let's be in a position of ease. Then you're going to start to move gently in that upper part. So think of your sternum, so below your collarbone, moving side to side, or your chest moving in almost a figure of eight or a helix type motion. And if the arms are uncomfortable or you get any tingling sensation, just go ahead and bring them down into a V, but keep the palms up here. And the breath is flowing in and out, in and out. And then we're going to do a couple more waves before we take that towel or ball away. Roll to the side, scoop it out. So it's in that scooping out and bring your arms by your side that you notice how it feels. That comparison, that before and after. I feel like I'm being sucked into the floor like quicksand, or just lying on a warm beach and your body just gets gradually its imprint into the mat, or into the sand I should say. And then you're going to extend your left leg along the mat. We're going to do our pelvic clocks. We're going to go straight into the circle of the clock today. So not all the parts of the clock, but straight into that circle, looking for the sit bones, looking for the waistband, enjoying the massage of the movement, and then go ahead and change direction, going around in the other direction. Remember, we're looking for ease. This is releasing and mobilizing. So can we do it with as little effort as possible? And then circle that to center, balance on the sacrum. Bend the left leg, notice how it feels, and then extend the right leg, ready to circle here. And as always, we notice the differences, and this is going to be helpful for you to progress yourself by doing perhaps more repetitions of an exercise that you feel is still requiring a bit more change in your body, Or it might be that you need to do a class like this class. You might think, oh, there's lots of mileage in this for me. I'm not perfecting it yet. So you carry on doing this class until you feel you've got what you need out of it, change direction. As we've said with all the classes, you do what you need to do to get what you need to get out of it. So it might take you 2 weeks of doing the class 3 times a week, or it might take you a month doing a certain class 2 or 3 times a week. And that's how you can make it count for you. Last circle, and then let that settle. Bend the right leg. Hopefully you feel a lot more balanced in your pelvis, sacrum balancing. So again, we're going to straighten the left leg and we'll do our femur arcs. So the sacrum now is really heavy and balanced. That center of gravity is dropping into the mat, which allows the thigh bone to roll back in the socket. It's like a vacuum sucking that leg into the socket. So think of it really being drawn, sucked in and released out. So it does not begin with the foot, it begins with that thigh bone rolling back. Finding the yielding of the front of the hip, those hip flexors, is such an important part of this process for you. Make that your last one and extend that leg. Oh, that feels fab. Hopefully you feel fantastic with that too. We'll do the other side. So bend the left leg, straighten the right leg, and suction that thigh bone into the socket and then back down. Remember your center of gravity, the sacrum is sinking. Feel the weight of the sacrum drop down as you get that suction into the socket. Deepening into the socket. Nice level, balanced, heavy sacrum. And this right leg is just easy. It's just lengthening. It's heavy and long. It's not participating, it doesn't need to. We've got one last one to do here. Great, let's bend both legs. Notice how it all feels there. And then we're going to bring up the right leg and grab on to the back of your thigh. Your left foot is secure to the mat, and we're going to do the can-can today. So you're going to stretch the leg and bend the leg, keeping your thigh bone in your hands. And we're going to turn the leg in and turn the leg out. So it's a bit like a corkscrew, turning it in and then turning it out. So we talked at the very beginning about how the muscles of the back of the leg aren't in a straight line. We have to unwind them the way they exist. So this is helping to unwind. Let's do 2 more can-cans. 1, 2, and then bring that down. Let's do the other leg. So the left leg, grab the back of the thigh, can up and down, turning in and out. You might feel like, goodness me, it's quite different on this side. This is my different side. What you might find is that the hip hitches up to compensate for what's going on around your sitting bone and around the pelvic floor and the diaphragm and the perineum. So can you be aware as you're canning the leg to do it from the leg and not by hitching the pelvis. So it's not a catwalk can. We're just moving the thigh in the socket. Twice more. Definitely one to practice again and again, and then bring that leg down. Cross your right leg over. We're going to go side to side across the pelvis, rolling. We've got a good clunk. So you might even get that lovely little adjustment where you click or pop or clunk in my case. Arms a little bit wider away from your body to create a a base of support, a stable platform. The head is freely rolling in the opposite direction. Twice more. And then return to center. Uncross that leg and we'll cross the left leg over. And we go side to side. Roll straight across the pelvis. You can do it with your towel underneath you for the feedback to help you feel that you are moving straight across as we've done in other classes, or you might be challenging yourself, your proprioception. Can you feel that you're going straight side to side versus hip hitching up, catwalk style? Allowing the head to roll in the opposite direction and always with ease. Remember, how far can you go? That's how far can you go whilst still allowing the shoulders to stay easy on the mat. Not forced to the mat, but easy on the mat. Well done. Last one here. And then return to center. Great job. Grab your towel or your soft ball. You're going to place it between your thighs, and we're going to place it vertically, so up, pubic bone to knees. That's where we're going with that towel. With the ball, you're just going to have it as close to your pubic bone as you can. Bring your feet a little wider, so maybe about shoulder width apart or outside of the hip width rather than hip socket width. So we're going to breathe out and use that out breath to gently hug that towel and breathe in to release. The hugging, it's like you're embracing it towards your pelvis. If your legs were arms, it's like that. It's that hugging it to you rather than straight in and squashing. It's hugging it, embracing it, loving it, bringing it to your pelvis. And it's not a massive force. It's not for dear life. It is loving embrace. So there's a real difference. So we're going to continue that, but instead of the sort of slow with the breath, you're going to be breathing naturally and you're going to do fast pulses. Squeeze, 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 or hug, hug, hug. That's what we're doing. So you're still thinking about the same quality of embrace, and you still want to feel release. So it's not so fast that you can't release in between. Last couple. All right, well done. Let's pop the towel to one side, feel the wibble wobble, and then we're gonna bring both knees in towards your chest. Circling your thigh bones in the sockets. Keep your big toes together. Keep your hands cupping your knees, just like we've done with femur circles before. And here we're doing it in the air. Circle the thigh bones in the sockets. You might find to have your legs hugged in this way, it puts a little strain on your shoulders or across your neck or chest. So if you pop the cushion or your towel underneath you, that's going to help to relieve that strain or tension that would be then inhibiting the movement at the hip socket. So we want to always make sure that we're in optimal conditions for what we're looking for. Change direction. So we circle in the other direction. So they're opening out and together and round, but in the other direction. Last one, and then bring together. If you did put the cushion in, you can go ahead and take that out now. We're going to be hugging the knees in tight so we make a ball shape, and we're just going to roll that ball from side to side. Let the head roll, and then tuck your head up towards your knees, and then make that roll or rock forward and back.
So it's a little massage for your back. Rocking and rest. Oh, you'll be ready for a rest. All right, so again, you can use your cushion or towel. We're going to do diamond legs, not so much of a rest, but hey ho. Bring the soles of the feet together, making sure you find the little toe side and the big toe side of your feet. So you're not flopping and you're not lifting up. You're finding that happy medium where you've got the feet, they're supporting you. You can feel that relationship, hopefully, or starting to feel that relationship of the feet up through the pelvis, up through the shins, the knees, the inner thighs, and up into the pelvis, and up all the way into the diaphragm. So it's not a strong press, it's a meeting that's a different quality. The language that we use makes such a difference to how you do the movement. It's not going to be helpful to do this with force. So can you find, again, it's a bit like the loving embrace when we did our adductor squeezes before. Can you find that same kind of quality? The weight of the whole leg or legs are coming through the feet. It's a very different quality. It makes my legs kind of vibrate a little bit, so I know I'm feeling something a bit different. Okay, and we just breathe. Once you get it, you're just maintaining it. This is one of my little homework practice exercises that I tend to do daily, and I just do it. I do my mindfulness at night before bed, and I literally just do this for about a minute, and it's a really easy habit actually to get into. All right, well done, rest there. Bring the soles of the feet down on the mat. Take your cushion or towel out from under your head. We're going into bridging. This means the feet need to be a wee bit closer to your bottom, ready to stand on them. So standing firm on the feet, and you'll feel them easier because of the diamond legs we just did. Reaching the sit bones, let them climb up the back of the knees. Breathe into the back of the ribs at the top and melt down. Breathing out. Breathe in when you reach the bottom to allow the bottom to widen, and then stand into your feet, reaching the shins, allowing the sit bones to climb the back of the knees. The sternum and the collarbones are still sinking down. We're not thrusting the chest to the ceiling. We're looking for that runway, that opening through the front of the hips. Melting the spine back down. One last time. Reaching the shins, climbing the sit bones up the back of the knees, looking at the ceiling to make sure your head is in the right position, and then coming down. Then we're going to open, bent knee opening, the left leg, and you're going to bridge up with the right and then come down. Close the left leg, open the right leg. Bridging up, you're in naturally a rotation now, and then come down and close. Open the left leg, bridging up in that rotation, and then rotating and closing when you come down. Open, bridging up, really feel the yawning open of the front of the hips. Bridging back down, de-rotating, and close the leg at the last moment. Once more either side. Bridging up. Feel that lovely yawning open. And then melting back down, close the leg. Last one. Opening, yawning. Look at the ceiling. Coming back down and closing the leg. Great job. So we're going to come into our side lying now, ready to do our thoracic rotation and our femur arc. So we're going to get the femur arc going first of all, but prepare yourself because you're going to clasp the hands behind your head, ready for thoracic rotation. Stand into the bottom leg, feel the underneath side of the body, those kind of landmarks of the hip and the ribs, the shoulder, sinking down, not pushing, but sinking down, creating lift and lightness in the waist. And then we let that top leg lift, and we're going into our femur arc, our side lying movement, where we think the same as the bridging, send the sit bone up the back of the knee, climb it so it opens up through the front, just like you did with your bridging. Let's move into the combination. We're ready for it. So as the leg comes forward, you're going to roll across. And then as the leg comes back, it spirals you forwards. Your hip is the kind of anchor point. You're kind of almost skewered into the floor at that point. So your leg is just moving around that central point. Remember, as the leg goes back, your sit bone climbs the back of the knee. And when we take the thoracic rotation, your belly button goes with you. So it's not a thrusting forwards. We're spiraling as we go back. We're going to do this just one more time. Such a lovely movement. Wowzers. And then rest that leg down, rub where you feel it. Hopefully it's in this kind of region. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So we take ourselves into our side lying, supporting the head, ready, and stacking everything up. If you've got two of something, they should ideally be one on top of each other. Eyes, ears, shoulders, hips, knees, all of the things. Okay, so we're looking straight forward. Not in the fetal position ready for a snooze, but we're here. So we stand into the other underneath side. Feel the weight of yourself. Lift the foot, lift the leg, and we go forwards and back. Noticing with curiosity the difference. We all have that difference from one side to the other. Here you go. Let's add the rotation. Oh, wow. So enjoy the natural movement through the body. As the leg goes back, the body goes forward. This is what you would be doing in walking. I know sometimes it can be hard to see the relationship with the movements that we do in our pre-Pilates with real life everyday movements. So here we are signposting that this is something that would occur-ish in walking. As the knee goes back, remember you are staying connected. The leg is coming out of the diaphragm. As we go back, feel the length through the front, the sit bone climbing the back of the leg, all of those good things. We're just gonna do one last one. Oh yes. And then rest there. Rub where you feel it, hopefully around there. Slowly come up to sitting. We can sit with the legs crossed, or you can do diamond legs, depending on what feels most comfortable to you. Hands are going to be cupping the knees, and we're going to do some pelvic clocks in a seated position. So rolling around the base of the pelvis, and allow your spine to follow. Don't worry about the shoulders. They might round, and that's all okay. Enjoy it. This is really working in several ways because it's working on the release of tension, which I'm sure you will feel through the base of your pelvis. Let's go ahead and change direction. So we're releasing the tension, but we're also stimulating. It's biofeedback in this way where we're going around and the brain is going, oh, I feel those bones again. She keeps doing these things. Must be something about feeling those bones that
the brain needs to pay attention to. And then we also have the mobilization element, because the spine is getting involved with it also. Okay, great job. Come to sitting. Swing your legs to one side so they're just swept like a mermaid on a rock, but really it's a Cleopatra. And we're going to do our breathing. Reach your arms the same direction as your legs, and it might be that you just kind of get here, and gradually over time you'll increase that range of movement. Look for whatever you have today. Press the underneath leg away in the direction of the feet and reach your arms that way, and simply breathe here. Breathing into the ribs going up and breathing into the ribs going down. And enjoying the space. It's brilliant. Each time you breathe out, you're feeling a little bit more reach, and the in-breath is giving you the movement, increasing the capacity. Think about all of that nutritious breath reaching all of the muscles and connective tissue of your body. How amazing is that? What a gift. Let's take the legs to the other side so they're just swept, and make sure that you're sitting above your pelvis and not thrusting. If you're a rib thruster like me, you have to check yourself on that. And reach the arms, press through the legs, reach through the arms, and allow the ribs to really open in the two directions. Reach, 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 reach. As much as you possibly can, pressing away with the legs. Remember, the upper ribs open up and the lower ribs down. And get that little extra reach as you're breathing out. And maybe you were like me, slightly creeping shoulders, creep them back down again, and then you'll get more movement in the spine. It's not that you're trying to pin your shoulder blades down, because that's not how they work. We talked about that already. They're the most mobile bones floating on the ribs there, most mobile bone in the body. So can't really pin them down, it's not helpful, and then rest. It's just we don't want them to be your rings either. Okay, we're going to do our cat stretch, so coming on to all fours now. Hands under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Remember that your shoulders are wider than your hip sockets, so check that you've accounted for that. Imagine that there's a paintbrush now on your tailbone, and you're going to be painting a line down the wall, down the skirting boards, along the floor towards your feet, between your feet and your shins and your knees, and eventually your head joins in, but it's not tucking in. Keep the scruff of the neck nice and long, no double chins, long scruff of the neck, and then send that tailbone out. Paint that line back again between the shins, the feet, along the floor, up the skirting board, and the head finally comes back into a line. Let's go again. Sending that tailbone out and round. The paintbrush is painting far away from you, so it helps you to find the most space between each of the vertebrae of your spine, and then all the way out again. And we're going to do it one more time. So if we think about the spine, sometimes we can go small and compress, and really we want to go large and we want to create space, and then coming all the way back out. And when we come out, we've naturally now come into our natural curves. Check that your hands are still spreading on the mat and you haven't closed your fingers in, because we need them to be spread wide to help us with the next exercise. Feel the weight sink through your left hand, right shin, and slide the left foot, right hand away. Right hand, left shin sinks
left hand, right foot slides. And we're going to keep going, paying more attention to the non-moving leg and arm. They're the ones that are going to create the stability so that you can move freely through the other. And they're not coming flailing away off the floor. It's just a small movement. And pay attention as well to your inner thighs, right at the top of the thigh bone. Remember that little knobbly bone, the lesser trochanter, right at the top of the inner thigh. Can you move from there? There. Much better. So your pelvis is going to be more stable. Let's do 2 more. Notice your head. Has it started to dangle? No dangling heads. It makes it much harder. And then have a rest into your child pose for a moment. So we've done 2 things. We've done cat stretch and quadruped. We're going to combine those 2 things now. So you're back into the all fours position, spreading your hands. You're going to do the quadruped. So you slide your hand and your foot out. And then you're going to cat stretch when you come in. We're going to place them down. You're going to go into your neutral spine. And then you're going to stretch opposite arm and leg. And then you're going to cat stretch when you bring them in. Put them down, come back to neutral. Once more either side, just like that. Opposite arm and leg. Cat stretch as you come in. Come back to neutral. Last one. Opposite arm and leg. Cat stretch as you come in. Come back to neutral. Now what we're going to do is make the cat stretch and stay in that cat stretch. Remember the long cat stretch. Tailbone out and around. Think about your paintbrush. Scruff of the neck. Now we're ready to go out and in with opposite arm and leg without losing the curves of the spine. So how far can your leg go now, leading with that lesser trochanter without losing the curve of the spine? You're probably getting a little warmer now. Twice more. Keep breathing. Continuing to breathe and rest there. Well done. What a challenge that one is. Rest into your child pose. Bring your hands towards your feet, so that you can breathe into your lower back. You can have a nice rest in this moment. You've done so good. It's very warming, that one. Okay, let's lie down on your front. Rest your head in your hands. Have your legs slightly apart. And you're going to bend your knees. And in this bent leg position, you're going to turn your legs out. Feet reach towards the floor. And then the feet come towards each other, out and in. Similar to the movements we've done before, we're rolling the thigh bones, we're turning in and out, and the pubic bone is heavy on the mat. You can have the legs wider if you want them wider, if it feels comfortable and useful, or they can stay shoulder width apart. 2 more. 1 more. And then you're going to go ahead and rest those legs out. Oh, I love that feeling. Isn't it fantastic? Now you can feel, hopefully, that the hip sockets are really wide, like they're yawning open. The pubic bone is heavy. And you're ready now to do some baby looks. So on the exhale, feel how naturally there's a lengthening that happens between your shoulder blades. The crown of the head reaches away. And we're going to use that to turn your head to the side. So each exhale, allow the lengthening and the breath to move the head. And it's moving over to the side. And it's always a sense of moving away from the pelvis. And now we're going a little bit further because we're coming up and trying to almost look over the shoulder. And this is going to look different on all of us and on each day that you do it. I'm smiling because the last day I did it felt very different to how it does today. And using the exhale to carry you round. And perhaps now the arms can move and create a little bit more platform, like a bug on the floor, or that baby trying to pull itself up and get to something, or explore where they are. The elbows might even lift away as you rotate around to see what's there, still using the exhale to lengthen up and around. There we go. Last couple. Enjoying that amazing mobility through the upper part of the spine. And then rest there. Great job, everyone. Coming up to sitting, grab your towel. It's nice and neatly rolled up-ish. We're going to do our seated half roll back. You're going to have the towel like we did when we were actually doing the adductor squeezes, the hugs that we did before. We're going to do the same thing, but we're seated. So finding your sit bones, hugging in, and as you're hugging in, you hug so much. It's like you're drawing, suctioning that towel into your pelvis. Less from the shoulders and more from the pelvis, then you come over your waistband. So it almost feels like your waistband goes behind you for you to come up. And then we go again. So start with hugging, meet your feet, rolling back off the sitting bones, less shoulders, more pelvis, send the waistband back to come up. So you have to look for it, fight for it, work for it, to really get that connection up through the inner seams, the anterior pelvic floor, up into the abdominal muscles. And right here, this juicy, juicy moment, go for it over your waistband and sit tall. This is a beautiful and really useful exercise to keep coming back to. And it works for you now because you release the front of the hip flexors. We found that sense of yielding of the thigh bones into the hip sockets. If this is so tight that you can't differentiate and move back, take a step back and go and do your femur circles again, or your femur arcing, any of the movements that we've done, even the can-cans that we did in class today. All of those things will help you to find that differentiation. Great job. Okay, towel to one side. We're almost there, folks. We're going to come into a little crouch position. Now in this crouch position, the toes are tucked under. This might be cramp central for you, in which case you're going to build up to that. So you can do a couple of different things. You can reduce the range by putting something under your knees here. You can put something underneath the front of your shins and reduce it here. This is a bit small for that, but have a little play with what you need to be able to be in this crouch. I'm going to use this because it's going to help with the next part too, and I can tell where I am today, I'm going to need it. All right, so we're in that crouch position, and then we're going to lift the knees up. Wow, isn't that something? Can you be there? And then from your pelvis, so doing the movement we just did, that pelvic tilt, can you reach your knees forward? I'm so glad I have that towel there today. And then bring them back again. Tilting, can you see that? It's like the adductor squeeze, just literally like what we just did. And then bring it back again. Tilting, imagine squeezing the towel. Now the goal is, let's see if I have it today, the goal is, can you reach the floor and then bring them back in? There's a big difference between just that distance of the towel and the floor. And then the goal from there would be to come to kneeling, then to come down. So let's try that. Come to kneeling, tuck the toes under, come to the crouch. We did it. And again, reach the knees down. Come to kneeling, come down, come to kneeling, tuck the toes, come to crouch. Isn't it interesting? One more time. Sometimes when we do something in a flow, it becomes more available to us. This is an important movement that we need to be able to do. Picking something up from the floor, getting up and down, we need to be able to do that from here. Okay, we're going to finish there for today. You have done so great. There was so much education in that class today. You're going to need to do that at least 2 more times, if not more, to really bed in that understanding into your body and make the change that you're looking for. And to develop especially the foot and ankle mobility. I'm sure that there's a lot of feedback happening from that last exercise. Anyway, well done in class today, and I look forward to seeing you in class again soon. Bye everyone.